collapsed. I had a chat with the Deputy President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, who doubles as the President of the Nigerian Union of Construction and Civil Engineering Workers. Mr. Amici Asugunu brings his expertise to bear on the issue of collapsed buildings in Nigeria.
I just have to, on behalf of the construction workers in Nigeria, condole with the families who actually lost their loved ones in that very unfortunate, preventable incident. Be it as it may, it's not something of recent. We have had cases of collapsed building in Nigeria, but the failure of government to have taken a decisive action in trying to prevent reoccurrence. That is the problem of Nigeria, the political will to actually carry out actions, policies that will eventually save life and protect properties in Nigeria. It's unfortunate. And again, the question is, why are these things happening? One may trace it to either be lack of standard materials, poor supervision, a structural defect. But in all of this, ties and boils down to government. A builder actually make application for approval of his plan. And such approval is supposed to entertain this architectural drawing in the first place that design the shape of the building. That building is supposed to also consider with the soil test upon which that building will be sitting on. We also look at the structural engineer who will determine the kind of beams, columns, the distance and spaces of those bars in order to carry that structure. They consider the load such building is meant to carry. Is it commercial? Is it private? Is it a school? Is the building for hotel? They anticipate unforeseen load, irrespective of what you have told them you want to erect. There is a possible increase of the capacity of the building, believing that a building that is meant to carry 100 people, a good structural engineer will anticipate the day 150 will come in there, the building will still survive. So these things are the challenges we're having in the architectural defects of Nigeria buildings. Now, when these buildings structures are put forward for approval, in most cases, they meet up this specification. Engineers do their best in trying to paperwork, ensure that documents meet the requirement. Now, going from there is to supervise in ensuring that what is on paper is put on the ground. That is the problem of Nigeria. That is where you have compromise from the inspection unit, from the government. Who comes to site to supervise project that has been approved by the same government?
Asuguni queries the level of supervision of building construction by engineers and the government. He calls for stricter building legislations.
But how many people carry out laboratory tests of the concrete of each building to actually confirm whether it meets the specification of the quality expected of such concrete? But people, sometimes they do manual casting and they tell you they are controlling costs. Engineers on site, you have quack engineers, people who have no knowledge, but they just tell you they are builders. How can you be builder without certificate? And then people tell you in order to control costs. So I think it has gotten to the level in Nigeria that as a union that does in that sector, we are calling on government, as a matter of fact, National Assembly, to legislate on this such that it becomes so compulsory that no building, any building that goes beyond bungalow must be supervised by a certified engineer, such that should anything happen, you revoke the license of that engineer. Because everyone will now know that I have a duty, I have a name to protect. No engineer will take the risk to compromise his own structural drawing. To gain what? supervision has been paid for. All you need to do is to ensure that the builder, the owner of the building, provide materials as required by the drawing. You don't compromise. Where they tell you that Y20 is needed for a column, you don't change it for Y16 for no reason. Rather, you should delay your project. You don't force project to finish, and then building that is supposed to last for 100 years, last for 10 years, it will not just collapse on its own, it collapses to kill lives. There are laws in Nigeria that permit that for any building to stand, it must meet our specification. Specifications are set up and they are known everywhere. Specification, there is nothing like Nigerian specification. There's nothing like London specification. In building, the calculation of load is the same. When a building is meant to carry a particular gauge of load, there is a stated number of rods that will be used in a particular beam or column, as the case may be. So these are laws governing structures to be strong in such a way that it prevents collapse. Because the essence of saying they should not be collapsed is not because the owner of the building will waste money. We know it cannot go down without casualty. Because everyone, you know, the hardship across Africa, especially in Nigeria, you see people sleep under the bridge. So when they sleep there, they believe they have found a place to rest. Unknowingly to them that the structure did not consider that somebody will be under the bridge. And all of a sudden, the bridge goes down and takes lives, and you begin to count. And we're just good in counting number of people when they die. So for us, it's better prevented. The laws in Nigeria is capable to save life and building. But what we are saying now is to make it more mandatory for supervision, because we have more builders in Nigeria that are not qualified. They are not registered anywhere, but they just know how to build. In such cases, they use a layman proposals to assume that one-story building, we can use 16 mm to build one-story building. And they will just, by such guess, they will just put down a structure.
Giving a more vivid instance, Asuguni mentions the danger in stretching the erection of a structure for too long.
No, you know, building is on stages. So when you want to begin a building and you are going to end with your DPC level, DPC level is the height within which talking about the first floor. The building rests on the floor. So you bring the foundation to the height upon which the floor begins. So you can terminate the first stage at that level, and then you floor your house. And you can leave the place if you don't have money. Should you continue, you must floor it, and as you floor it, you take it again to maybe lintel level. It is in stages. You don't leave your building halfway, and then you want to start from the half part. You poses danger to the remains of the structure. So it's advisable that you consider stages of building before you could call it a quit to look for more money. Some people, you can't do decking halfway. It's dangerous. But people will still tell you about the same, the road is still there. No. Water will be running into the ones you have done, and before you know, it creates holes, it creates cracks, that tomorrow you see some building. After a while, you begin to experience crack on the wall. Something is happening downward. Some crack don't just crack because block is weak. No. Something has shifted, and if it's not traced to be treated, other than that, a particular weight is shifted. Because when these buildings are erected, cement is not meant to replace roof. When you are building your house, it's meant that at the end of the day, there will be a roof covering the body of the house, protecting the chemicals used in producing the cement to remain strong in holding to the building. And where you allow your building, exposed, uncompleted building, to rains for many years before you come back to it, certainly there must be structural tests. You must carry out a structural test to reconfirm if it's necessary to bring down the building and start afresh, or certain part of the building must be collapsed in order to have a lasting, because the intention of the builder is to actually own a house that will last. People use the word forever, but we don't also believe that the building should last forever, but it lasts for a long time. Building is not a short-term structure. It's meant to last for a longer time, We have building that lasts 100 years and is still strong because it's protected and it was considered to last so. So when you leave your building for too long, it's expected that you carry out structural tests to reconfirm the strength of such wall before you can carry anything on top. Because, of course, it's even known. Don't forget, cement was mixed with sand. And then going down with water. A layman will know that a time comes you touch with your hand, it turns like powder. So if the beginning turns like powder, you should know that if powder goes down, ordinary hand can bring it down as well. But they will also tell you from their structural point that the key aspect of building is the determination of rod, the bar, the iron that holds the building, columns. When the column is well placed, that is why you see people, they can erect building without necessarily standing wall until the building is completed. Because it's the column and the beams that holds the building. The wall can come after. But once you are able to ascertain the right columns and beams, and the calculation is done in such a way that it carries the expected load, the building is safe.